I'm Kate Dunlap, and I'm a junior. I go to Legacy Christian Academy, and I went to church every Sunday, and I felt like I had a really strong community at church, and I really loved God, and I was around a bunch of people who also believed in God. I went to a private school in elementary. I was just always constantly surrounded by people with the same beliefs as me, and so I never really learned anything else outside of that. I think around middle school, I actually started to pursue a relationship with him. And that's when I really met him because when I was younger, I didn't know anything else. And then in middle school, I started going to public school, and that's when I realized there's so many other worldviews. And so that made me actually stronger in my faith because I knew that God was the true God, and I had so much trust in that. And so that's when I started to really build my relationship with him. I think what really pulled me away from God was the start of COVID. I felt really isolated and really alone, and I felt like even God wasn't really there. And I started to kind of fall into a really dark season and felt really hopeless. And then I started to fall into the wrong group of friends. And these were friends that weren't pursuing Christ, didn't believe in God, had no care for religion or anything like that. And I started feeding my flesh with a lot of things that definitely weren't good for me. And that was hurting me physically and mentally. And I just had completely deserted my relationship with God. But I think that whole entire time, I knew God was there. But at the time, I didn't want to leave those things behind. And I felt like I was too far gone. I felt like I couldn't come back. And I felt like I was hiding myself from God too. I felt like I couldn't even talk to him. I just had completely isolated myself and my thoughts from everyone else. I was going to church and being considered the perfect Christian girl, but then I would go home and my life was just full of sin that I felt like I couldn't get rid of. So once I started coming to the Heights, I just immediately felt like everyone had open arms for me. And I felt like I finally was at a place where I wouldn't be judged and where I could come in and be completely vulnerable. And I felt so alone, and I came in here and I met Madison and Alicia and my other group leaders, and I just felt like they didn't think I was too far gone. And that's what I had told myself I was. But they finally helped me believe that I wasn't, and that God doesn't think I'm too far gone, and that there's still hope. And so I think that's what really turned it around for me. That's where I found hope, is coming to him while I was still struggling and still having these addictions, but just giving it to him and saying God, I want help with this. Don't hide away from God. He wants you to come to him with those struggles. You don't have to be perfect to go to God. And I'm still growing my relationship with God. I still make mistakes and I still trip up sometimes, but I feel so much more peace, and I feel like I finally have hope. And I feel like that's something that I just want everyone to be able to feel. And I also want to be someone who people can come to and not feel judged. I want to be that person for anyone. And I want people to know how much joy and how much peace God has brought me and how much he can bring others as well. And I just, I finally found purpose in my life and felt like I wasn't alone.